I know you're watching the Crypto Roundup on Proactive. Joining me as the man with his finger in the pulse of all things crypto, Billy Farrington. Billy, good to speak with you again, and certainly no lack of drama since we last talked. But what's been Bitcoin's latest performance?
Yeah, it really has been one for the ages, hasn't it, Stephen? Obviously, last Saturday there was this assassination attempt against presidential nominee Donald Trump. Really, really quite shocking scenes coming out of the US. And well, you know what, as macabre as it may be, Bitcoin really shot up immediately following this shocking attempt on Trump's life. People are calling the reaction something of a Trump trade, which basically what this means is immediately following this assassination attempt, the odds of Trump coming into office in November really shot up. I mean, if he wasn't the favorite before, he's definitely the favorite to clinch the presidential election now, given how his support base and even previous supporters have galvanized their support behind him, which isn't surprising given there was an actual assassination attempt on his life, right? But anyway, so yeah, what is a Trump trade? Well, Trump is sort of comparatively the pro crypto presidential nominee of choice. He's certainly more pro crypto than the Democrats. I guess it feeds into the whole libertarian philosophies underpinning both Bitcoin and the Republicans. But yeah, that's sort of why we saw Bitcoin spike this week, because the prospect of Trump winning the election is as high as it's ever been. He's the pro crypto presidential nominee. Just makes sense that Bitcoin's going to rally amid all these, despite how macabre the catalyst might be, right? So yeah, I mean, Monday was one of the best single day trading sessions in the last few weeks, and things did tail off though toward the middle of the week. The last couple of days, we've seen a bit of a fall back. However, as we speak right now, looking at the charts, Bitcoin is still about 12% higher week on week. It's traveling at around the 63,100 or so dollar mark. So a bullish week for Bitcoin.
Does this Trump trade have legs, Billy?
I guess it depends what happens in Camp Democrats, right? I mean, there are greater political minds than myself. I'm not exactly a political analyst, so take this with a grain of salt. But I think general wisdom is right. Biden is increasingly being asked to step aside and let somebody else take over, and I think we can kind of all agree that that potentially is a good idea, right? Again, I'm not a partisan. I don't know, but he nonetheless, Biden is facing extreme calls to step aside, and this could kind of go either way, right? Because in my mind, given Biden's sort of lack of popularity, increasing lack of popularity, it would kind of like what surely it would be good for the Republicans for Biden to stay in office, because it just almost sort of confirms Trump's victory. Yeah, but then again, if Biden steps aside, who knows going to take who's going to take his place? I mean, would bringing in a new leader in just a few months before the election, would that be a good thing for the Democrats? That could be a hard sell as well. So yeah, it really depends what happens next in Camp Democrats, and bringing that back to Bitcoin, right? It's likely that the Trump trade, the bullishness in the markets that we're calling the Trump trade, it's likely that that is going to sort of gravitate, it's going to sort of align itself with the prospects of Trump coming into power. So what happens next politically is going to really affect the markets, definitely Bitcoin markets. Anyway, if Trump's likelihood of winning the election increase, we could imagine the Trump trade pushing Bitcoin prices high again, and obviously the vice versa is true. So there's a lot of political intertwining with the markets right now.
Well, progressing all the way to today, Billy, was Bitcoin at all affected by this bizarre IT blackout?
Yeah, as I said, it's been a week for the ages, hasn't it? An assassination attempt, and now one of I can't think of a bigger IT blackout in history. It's just been an absolute insane morning for anybody that's been under a rock all day. Global airlines were grounded. Microsoft computers went offline. Trains have all been cancelled. Sky News went offline. Not sure how many people really realized that, but anyway, it still happened. Yeah, it's just been an absolute crazy situation where Microsoft servers have gone down across the world. I believe the finger is being pointed at Microsoft's cybersecurity partner, CrowdStrike. Yeah, it's impacted the markets. But however, despite what you think about Bitcoin and its thesis as a as a decentralized currency, and whether you sort of believe in that sort of thing or not, you can't deny that this debacle has emphasized the killer app of Bitcoin being decentralization, right? Now, Bitcoin doesn't rely on a single server. It doesn't even rely on a few thousand servers. It's consensus performed by tens of thousands of individual nodes, individual computers across the world. It's a completely decentralized piece of technology that is the blockchain, right? And so no matter what you say, I think today has shown Bitcoin, blockchain technology's resilience in the face of things like mass IT blackouts, things like hacks. It's shown the resilience of blockchain technology against these sorts of things. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if a bit of a narrative of a vindication of Bitcoin technology might emerge from this whole IT disaster. So no, Bitcoin wasn't affected by this IT blackout. If anything, it might have actually given more credence to it, to the technology underpinning it.
Well, at least something positive has come out of the week. Billy, thank you very much for your insights as always.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
That's Proactive's Billy Farrington.